Hello, my name is Aaron, and if anyone is listening to this right now, you may be aware of me. You might be aware I make music. You might be aware I have very soft hair. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is manifesting your destiny. Not manifest destiny, as people might recall in history books. I just farted really loud. Did anyone hear that? I don't know if that came. I fucking let it rip. But anyway, I wanted to talk about manifesting your destiny, your perfect life. So first, I'm going to just really quick go over what manifesting is. Manifesting is where you visualize, you have the idea in your head of something that you'd like. So let's say it's your perfect life, perhaps you have a career path that you go down, and then you have certain results that happen afterwards. So let's say you are a musician and you're making music and you say, I want this music to lead me down the path of traveling around the world and going on adventures and meeting lots of people and having great experiences and total fulfillment of my soul's desires, the absolute highest good that you can picture. And manifestation is doing that, picturing that in your mind, having positive affirmations such as, saying it over and over, I'm going to get this, I have this in my life, I'm going to get it. And those affirmations are coupled with real knowing and belief. You have to have faith that it happens. And then doing this enough to the point where in conjunction with taking positive action by putting in work and figuring out what steps you can do in your life to make it happen, your manifestations become a reality, And I mean, most people might be hearing this and be like, well, yeah, duh. If you put in the work to something that you want, it actually happens. But I'm talking about when something happens totally unexpectedly, such as you're putting in the work for we'll use the music example again because this is my story. But let's say you're putting in the work for your music and you're making a bunch of music, and one of the things you've been manifesting is, all right, this music is going to take me places. It's going to bring me all around the world, and I'll have great opportunities around the world. And so let's say you're making music, you've put out your album, it's been out for a day, nobody's seen it yet, but one of your friends calls you up and says, dude, I'm going to South Africa. Do you want to come along with me? And you know in your heart that you've always wanted to go to South Africa, and you know that you putting your album out has not necessarily caused your friend to invite you out to South Africa, but you know that your work with your music, in conjunction with you believing that opportunities will come to you if you put in the work, has created this opportunity with your music for you to do something. So that's the idea of what manifestation is, all right? And then I want to go ahead and just tell a story really quick. And by really quick, I don't know how long it'll take. It's my story about manifestation. But I think it's a good one to tell because I have a very good example about how this stuff can kind of change your life, And if anyone's into mushrooms, it includes mushrooms. So let's just start right here. So back in April of 2020, I was working at we'll say a sandwich shop because that's true, but I won't name any companies. But I was working at a sandwich shop and I really was not enjoying myself. I was not having the best of times. And I had to work at that sandwich shop because I had bills to pay, I had things to do, and I needed the financial stability in order to not only feel secure in doing those things that I wanted to do, like make my music and do things with friends, but also those are pretty much the reasons. But I didn't like it at all. In fact, I felt very demeaned at my job. I didn't like it. I was paid very low, and it was upsetting. I could barely pay my bills. And I didn't know what to do. And I started seeing numbers. Now, most people see numbers if they look around. Numbers are commonplace. But I started seeing repetitive numbers. I saw 333 everywhere, fucking everywhere, every time I looked at a clock, it was 3:33. Every time I opened up Adobe Audition to make a make a new song for my music, I had 3.33 gigabytes left or so in storage. I know I take up a lot of space. And I would see it everywhere. I would see it on clocks. I would see it in programs. I would see that my phone was always at 33% when I would open it up, just coincidentally. But not actually coincidentally. I'll get into that. And it happened, and this happens for like 3 weeks or so at this point. And I start thinking, why? Why is this happening? Why am I seeing these numbers everywhere, And this is also in conjunction with I'm seeing 444 everywhere. I'm seeing like alternating numbers like 353 and stuff. And it's all the time, everywhere. And so it happens so often that I look it up, and I look up, why am I seeing this number? Why am I seeing that number? And I find these websites, and there's one that I use in particular called Sacred Scribes. A woman named Joanne, I think it's Wimsley or something. She's from Australia, but she has a website all about angel numbers. If you want to check it out, it's what I recommend for all the information. She's dedicated her life to this stuff, and it's very, very thorough, very helpful. And it pertains to this story in and of the fact that that's the website I used, but it was a big help for all these angel numbers. But anyway, I looked it up. I looked up why am I seeing these, and I found websites that said these are angel numbers, all right? And so, and at this point in my life, I believe in God. I'm not too keen on the idea that angels are all around me because it just didn't seem that logical to me at the time, and I didn't really understand. But I read these numbers on this website, and it says, listen, all right, you're seeing these numbers, your angels are around you, and they want you to fucking follow your dreams, okay? They want you to follow your dreams. You're doing your dreams, but you're not going all the way. You're apprehensive, all right? And I immediately connected that. I said, yeah, I am apprehensive because I don't have any goddamn money and I don't know what to do about that situation. And I had that thought, and then a day goes by after that situation and I start seeing another number like everywhere throughout the day. And I remember I was looking up those numbers or whatever, and I look it up and it says something along the lines of, hey, don't worry about money. You need not worry about money. We got you. We got you, okay? And I thought, you're fucking crazy. You're insane. You're goddamn crazy, all right? And so I kept going to work or whatever. And then, you know what? This wasn't in April. This was like in the beginning of March or so, because then March 25th or so, whatever happens, maybe like a week after, but I lose my job because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I lose my work, and I just think, fuck. What the hell am I going to do? And so I apply for unemployment, because I didn't know what else to do. And I get home and I'm seeing numbers everywhere and I look them up. And again, it's the financial one. They're saying, don't worry about your money. You chill out, motherfucker. All right. We got you on money. Now you just follow your dreams. You follow your heart. You do what you want to, and we're going to take care of the rest. Okay. And I thought, well, I don't have much of a choice right now, all right? I can't get any work right now, yada, yada, yada. I applied for unemployment. I might as well. And so I started following my dreams 100%. I full-time started doing my music. I full-time started making music all about encouraging other people and uplifting them, everything that made me feel whole, which is what I now recognize to be my purpose. So this happens, and 2 months goes by. I'm at the very end, and also, by the way, my unemployment never came in. It did not come in at this point. And I am almost out of my money. I've like $25 to my name. And my bills are due. My car payment, my telephone, all this stuff, that I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do to deal with. And I just remember on the day that my bills are due, I see the number that says, don't worry Don't you worry about a thing, mama. It was Stevie Wonder who sent me. He must have been an angel at the time. But they said, don't worry about your money, all right? You just chill the hell out. And I thought, damn it, Ty. Okay. You know, because at this point, it's happening so often and so coherently in conjunction with events. I meaning like something would happen and I would see a number, look it up because of my intuition telling me to, and it would pertain precisely, very accurately to my situation. So at this point, I'm you know, then I saw her face and now I'm a believer. And so I'm thinking this is something real. So the day my bills are due, I look in the mail and I see a letter for me. I got my unemployment check. It was put back or something. There was a backlog on it. And I got $5,000 because they had been backlogging all of it. And so I thought, holy moly, holy guacamole, I got what I need. And you know, I trusted in these random numbers that appeared to me. And all of a sudden, I am in a much better position than I was when I was working at that job, thinking that I had to slave away doing something that I did not like, you know? And so I got extreme inspiration at that point, and I knew in my heart, this shit means something, you know? And then I guess this is where I can put in the mushroom story. I started doing some mushrooms because, you know, I wanted to do some mushrooms, as you do. And, excuse me. And so I got some mushrooms. They were penis envy, which is a very strong strain. And so I get these penis envy mushrooms and I take them and I have a fun little time. I won't get into the semantics about it, but you know, I have the classic mystical experience, and I meet what I know as God, and I'll say him because for me, it was a masculine presence, but I meet him, and he tells me in these visions, in this mushroom trip, listen, all right, you are magical. You're way more magical than you ever thought. You're way more magical than you ever knew. You actually did know when you were a very small child, when you were just a little cherub, when you were a youngin', you've always known that you were meant for something greater on this earth, but over the years, as your ego developed, you were put down by other people, you were put down by your parents, you were put down by situations not going your way because of your own ignorance, which is okay. But because of that, you lost touch with the magical feelings and powers that you have. So we're here to help you. We're here to let you know you can do anything that you set your mind to. But what fulfills you is helping other people see that they can do anything and following your own destiny at the same time. And so in this mushroom trip, I get this message, and I come out of it, and I'm just so inspired. So any doubt about these angel numbers that I had before the trip was fucking gone, you know? I'm 100% on board with this. And so I start getting a bunch of angel numbers that say, follow your dreams, start doing creative stuff, do all this, do all that. And I start doing all this creative work. I start making album after album, which are coming out, by the way, album after album. And I am making so much work. I'm doing everything that my heart tells me, you know? And, you know, what do I know? Things start popping up. I mean, it got to a point where I made an album called Moth, which came out a few months ago. But after that, I got an angel number that said, like, start making more music and everything, you know, which is what I interpreted it as. It said, do some creative stuff. But I started making an album, and I just felt intuitively I have to make it about self-love. And so I started making a self-love album. And every song that I would make, the idea would come to me. I would say, all right, self-love, let's do one about self-love. Let's do one about self-care. Let's do one about self-confidence. And I would make these songs, and throughout the process of the song, not even through lyrically writing it, but as I would make the songs, I would just be going through this almost alchemical projection type process where I would be going through the process of whatever I am teaching in the song. So I would make a song about self-confidence, and situations would arise in my day-to-day life in which, like while I was working on this song, that gave me self-confidence in things, and then also, and then self-love and learning how to care for myself. And so that's when I realized, oh my goodness, there's a secret order in the universe. There's something going on here. And not only does it know what my future is, what my good future is if I follow their directions, but it knows that not only do I make great music, but I go through a process of individuation, as Carl Jung would say. I'll talk about Carl Jung in another one. He's worth 10 hours of talks. Read Jung if you haven't. But it's almost as if this was putting me through individuation. I was becoming my authentic self, It's like I was becoming who I was when I was a young child but couldn't speak. And then I went through this period of all my life where I could speak, but I wasn't that person anymore. And now I can speak, and I'm becoming that person again. And so I wanted to tell that story. Because, there's more details and semantics I could go into, but that is my story about manifestation. And I suppose I can tell you about my results. I've been manifesting my perfect reality for the entire year so far. It's gotten to points where I will walk outside and just walk around in circles in my backyard to concentrate, or I'll do it when I'm meditating, and I'll just repeat the affirmations if I have any, and I'm at the point now where I don't. But if I did have any doubt in me, I would just repeat it over and over. My life is perfect. Everything is perfect. And I'm imagining every good thing about my life. I'm imagining all the countries I'm going to travel to. I'm imagining all the amazing experiences I'm going to have. I'm imagining all the great work I'm going to do by fulfilling the mission that I am here to do in my life. And I'm doing this over and over and over, and I have experienced incredible results. So far, I'm going out on missions and everything. I'm going out on adventures. I'm doing my own thing. I've had incredible, great experiences in my life. I'm going to new places. There's not much I can say that would convince another person other than I feel more fulfilled now than I ever have in my entire 21 years, except for perhaps when I was 1 year old. But so there's that. Now, I can understand if anyone has apprehension about this, because people might not necessarily know, a lot of people I can talk to will say, well, how do I follow my dreams if I don't even fucking know what they are? And I would recommend a couple things. A good way to think about it is, what is the thing that you used to do as a child that would make the hours fly by like minutes, And that could be finger painting. It could be building a building or something. Or, I know there's a lot of children that will play dress up and they'll pretend to be a business person or something. But whatever it is, that can be a very good breadcrumb trail to lead you to what your earthly pursuits should be, and what your destiny is. But this will be the final thing that I'll talk about in this little seminar, I suppose. But if you really, really are in the dark about the steps that you can take, let's say, even if you know what you want to do, so if you don't know what you want to do, but even if you do know what you want to do with your life, and you just don't know how to do it, like your goals are so high, you're so excited for this life, but you have no idea what steps to take to get there, there is a method. And this method is fucking dangerous. So if you have ever heard of Kundalini Yoga, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't heard of Kundalini Yoga, I'm going to give a slight explanation. So Kundalini Yoga is a form of yoga, and it is the most potent form of yoga. And what I mean by the most potent form of yoga is in normal yogic sessions, let's say you're doing a class with a leader and you're doing these poses and you're doing Om, you're doing some mantras, and you do this over months and months and months, and you attain a sense of clarity, and you open up these energetic fields in your body that allow you to feel more whole, more spiritually attuned to who you are, and grounded to the earth. Now, what Kundalini Yoga is a very, very ancient form of yoga, and it's the most potent, meaning whereas in other yogic sessions, you do this over the course of a long period of time, differentiating between individuals, you can do one session of Kundalini Yoga, and by God, you are set. You have way more than you need. It will open up every energetic field in your body, meaning that all your chakras will be fucking rocking and rolling with energy. And it also opens up a form of energy called the Kundalini. Now, what the Kundalini is it's almost like a hidden energy field. It's something that all people have, but not a lot of people are aware of it because it is dormant. It is something that people are born with that has to be awoken if you want it. It's almost like in a video game where you have this ability and you never find out about it unless you press a specific button combination and you find out, oh my God, I can do a flip. But this is much better than a flip. This is almost like a superpower. It's literally a superpower. Now, what it does is when you open it, and so Kundalini Yoga is a lot of breath work. You're doing something called the breath of fire, which is breathing repeatedly out the nose and in and out and in and out. You can look it up. Look up a session. But I would be careful, because if you are comfortable with your life and you are comfortable settling for less, if you feel fine hanging out with people that you know aren't right for you but make you feel not alone, if you are totally okay with not following your dreams and working at some place that you don't like, if you're fine with a lackluster, way less than the best potential life, then I wouldn't recommend Kundalini Yoga, because it is, as I said, the most potent form of yoga, meaning when you do this, when you perform Kundalini Yoga, and what you do is during the meditation, you visualize a snake coming up from the base of your spine, inside your chest, or inside the lower abdomen, and you imagine it spiraling around your spine until it gets to the top of your head, into your third eye. And so that's just one of the processes. But when you do this, and I kid you not, it's happened to me, and it's realer than anything I've ever experienced. But when you do this, it changes your life. Something opens up in your body that seems to be a higher intelligence. Now, this could be what people call God. This could be something. It seems to be a secret order. If you read Carl Jung, for me, it is what I've experienced as an almost telepathic but very physical and real communication with the self, the ultimate potential of what you could be, of ultimate positivity. And so what happens is any time that you have the intention to do something that perhaps feels good physically, in the material sense or whatever, but you know in your heart, or maybe if you don't know in your heart, it doesn't matter if you're conscious or not about it. If it's not good for you, if you open up the Kundalini energy, it no longer allows you to perform those actions. And what I mean by no longer allows you is you will be in pain. So it tends to differ between people. I've had a friend who did Kundalini yoga, and as soon as she started doing things that were regularly habitual for her, but she would later, in hindsight, find out weren't very good for her, when she would do them shortly after the Kundalini, she had vivid panic attacks. I mean, out of nowhere, and she had no idea why. And it's just fears and terrible stuff coming up out of nowhere. I mean, she would go to hang out with friends, and she would have these visions, terrible visions of dead bodies and everything, and it would just, they were emotionally charged. So it's not like she's just seeing these visions, but they were scaring her. And she would just say, I'm sorry, I have to go. And what happened with me is anytime I went to do something that perhaps was habitual for me, but wasn't in my right path for my highest good, I would get pain. And I still get this. Whenever I would worry about something, because my path is not coupled with worrying. Whenever I would worry, I would get a splitting headache. I mean, it felt like someone is stabbing an ice pick into my temple. And over the course of, this happened so much. It would happen so much. I would get pains in my shoulders and my back and everything. And, it happened so much. Eventually, I noticed patterns, whereas whenever I'm worrying, this happens. And so I test it out, and I would worry about something voluntarily, and it would happen. And then I would stop worrying, and then it wouldn't happen. It would just vanish. And so this happens after I did Kundalini, and I would get now it's happened so much that I'm so certain about it, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and I've been able to categorize everything. So whenever I'm going down the wrong path for a choice, I get these cold sweats, and they're very uncomfortable. And whenever I'm worrying, I get headaches. Whenever for some reason, whenever I need to notice something, I get these twitches in specific parts of my body. And that one took a little while to pick up on the pattern, but I noticed, every time I would notice something like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that about me, but that pertains to me. Let's say I encounter in a situation, I would then realize intuitively, oh, you know what? I just twitched. I had a big twitch in my shoulder, and this happens so many times that I notice that, it's, I understand. So if you want to be on the right path in your life, and you're not necessarily sure what choices you should be making, Kundalini might just be a saving grace for you. I will say it is a tough path, especially if you are used to things that might feel good but are not good for you in the long run. It is not the widened path that is wide enough for people to walk in big groups and is padded with mattresses and pillows and lovely soft things that you can walk with your bare feet. No, that is the path that most people choose to walk because it's easy. But the path of your own destiny is a thin path, so thin that only one person can walk in front of another, meaning you have to do this alone. I mean, you can have people that are friends with you and everything, but they can't help you with this path. This is an individual's journey, and the path is fucking gravel. There's nails and everything. It's a tough path, but when you go through the path, you find such fulfillment on such an inner level. I mean, it's better than sex, I'll say that. So I guess I can end it there. That's what I wanted to say. I want to end this with a little bit of a message just pertaining to everything. You heard my story. Manifestation is real. It's something that's real, and it's something that you should consider. And if you're a non-believer and you're also not afraid to get on the right path, look up some Kundalini yoga. I looked up a 30-minute session, and I did it for 15 minutes. And my life is different. So, talk about potent. Anyway, if you want to make your life the best that it can be, start manifesting. Get an idea of your highest good. If everything in your life from this point on right now went perfect, perfect. I'm not talking about, I get a raise, or I get a promotion, or maybe I get a new pair of shoes. No. Perfect. You have to, like Icarus, you have to shoot for the fucking sun, And there's a chance you might melt those wings, but how do you know what you can get if you don't shoot for the sun? That's the point. You have to go and visualize and imagine your highest good. And then you have to say, well, how can I get there? And you do that. If you do Kundalini yoga, it helps you out with the steps. And if you're manifesting at the same time, manifestation is like there's an invisible hand coming out from your forehead, and you can't see it. But the more you manifest, the farther out that hand reaches to the universe, the parallel universe where those things are true, and it grabs onto it. And if you put in the work and you keep manifesting and putting in the work, that hand is pulling that universe towards yours. And eventually, before you know it, it's pulled it so close that the hand is now back in your forehead, because your universe is that universe now. And that's what manifestation is. Manifestation is saying, I want that. I will have that. And through the work, through the belief and honest-to-God faith sometimes, you have it. So that's all I'll say for now. But I hope you enjoyed listening. All right. Peace and love. Bye-bye.